Good morning, everyone. I'm Ranu Parwal once again with you from Acura Solutions and Skills Connect, again on a Saturday morning with a new topic in the HR domain for your reference. And I have my eminent speakers with me as well. Quickly, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Ranu Parwal, and I represent Acura Solutions and Skills Connect, which is a digital platform which connects to 10,000 plus colleges across 1,000 plus cities and helping companies hire freshers at speed. Our intent is to take jobs to every small cities of the world, every small cities of the country, to ensure that people have right jobs and right internship projects so that they can upskill themselves and are ready for the corporate world. With me, I have my partners, Sunil Kabra, who represents Ace Human Capital, which is on the contractual staffing side of the business. Hi, Sunil, and which is into blue, which predominantly works on the gig economy. I have Vicky Jain, who's got his a smart HRMS solution, one of the youngest guys in our team, and has been working on has been a founder of a very interesting HRMS platform, competing with the likes of the biggies of Darwin Box and Kekas of the world, and has a lot of huge clients onto the platform today. His company has also been shown interest by Hinduja Group for a possible merger with the group. Hi, Vicky. I'll also just talk about the topic for the day. Hi, Vicky. Robots won't replace HR, but what will they actually do? Think of a time when within the financial systems, we had a long queue. And after that, we had the ATMs or we had the other things coming up like net banking. And today we've gone to the next level. Similarly, in the other functions of industries, we have seen a lot of automations continuously coming up. Beyond financial capital, the most important element of any organization is the human capital. And in the human capital, we need a personal touch. But think of technology also intervening here. And in the segment, we'll be talking about the personal touch. The erstwhile personal department of an organization has converted itself into a full-fledged HR tech platform, which looks at the earlier platform. Today, this entire HR domain looks at recruitment, onboarding, training, employee engagement, talent management, compliances. Within this HR vertical, ENY's report says 93% of the time is spent on repetitive activities. 65% of the time is spent on rule-based processes, which can be automated easily. Today, when we speak to the CHROs of various organizations, they have created HR excellence teams, and almost all the progressive CHROs talk about tech solutions the way a few years back the CIOs or the CEOs of the organization used to talk. Each CHRO talks about a digital solution and continuously and keeps evaluating it. The topic is to understand up to what extent would robotics or technology come in, and where would there be the personal touch? And I have the speakers who are the veterans in the industry. Let me introduce them one by one. With me, I have the first speaker, Mohita Pathak. Hi, Mohita. Mohita currently leads the HR analyst.
Hi, everyone.
Mohita leads the HR function for Analyst.ai in India, which is into artificial intelligence and doing a lot of work in the healthcare space using the AI tools. With over 20 years of experience, she has worked in the space of financial services, manufacturing, FMCG, and technology with Indian and MNC companies. She has worked with Kotak Mahindra Bank, Pidilite, C8 in her earlier stint. She is a certified coach, OD practitioner, and an instructional designer who's passionate about facilitating processes that helps individuals and teams realize their potential. Her passion for development led to take her courses in certified emotional intelligence and neuro-linguistic programming. Mohita holds a PG degree in HR and a diploma from IIM Ahmedabad, and she's a gold medalist during her graduation days. In her spare time, she enjoys traveling, meditation, reading, gardening, cooking, painting, adventure, and alternative healing therapies. We welcome you, Mohita, for the webinar, and thanks for being present as a speaker with us.
Thank you, Ranu. Thanks for that introduction.
My other speaker is Vaishali Pachapurkar, and she's the director at PwC. With over 2 decades of experience in human capital strategy and operations, currently with PwC Acceleration Center as a director in human capital. She's been with Genpact in various leadership roles in learning and development and HR business partnering. She's been the former core member of Corporate Advisory Council of NASSCOM Skill Sector Initiative on Artificial Intelligence and Big Data. She has been the former board member of Academic Advisory HR Committee at Wellington, Bangalore. We are great. It's a pleasure to have you, Vaishali, as a speaker with us today, and we would be looking forward to your experience within the industry, which we'll be all keen to listen to, apart from our audience. Welcome, Vaishali.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Yash Deliwala, who's a double PhD in the HR domain. I'm sure it's every topic that I spoke to Yash, and Yash had an answer to it at a different level, which is much ahead of what I'm sure we from HR tech space also would talk. And I would love to be associated with you, Yash, also for getting more insights in the tech space in the HR domain. He's a subject matter expert in various aspects of HR. He's currently a CHRO to Alumnity Incorporates. He's a Scrum Master certified and has built team from the scratch. He's been advising various corporate boards and global investors on various topics. He's earlier worked in Unada Labs and Zobon. He's currently doing his research or doctorate in the research of impact of training on performance of middle-level employees in IT companies of Gujarat. We welcome Yash as a speaker, as one of the speakers with us, and looking forward to more hearing from you as well.
Awesome.
Without wasting much of our time, I'll just, Mohita, you're one of the senior most members in the team. I just wanted to understand. HR professionals are using technology to adopt evolving work arrangements, such as, I just wanted to know how can HR professionals use technology to adopt evolving work arrangements within the remote and the hybrid model? Yeah, Mohita.
Okay, so when I think of this question, what comes to my mind is that really look at what remote and hybrid models did for all of us. So one is that it provided relief, the much needed relief from travel. And the second is that it actually brought in flexibility for us to maximize the way we wanted to work. And the most important thing to my mind is the flexibility. So when I interact with employees or with different people working in different sectors, it's actually the word flexibility that comes to the mind. So now how can it actually enhance the work arrangements? Is about providing that flexibility with the help of data and analysis on two broad areas. One is performance, the other one is efficiency. Now, if AI systems are able to provide that data to organizations and HR, it will be very easy for organizations to modify their flexi working or remote working or on-site working basis this useful data and algorithms that could actually come out from there. So some of the organizations today have started calling people back to work. But how is the impact of this on people's performance, on their wellness, health and hygiene, and also health, mental health? If AI is able to track all of this, and we have historic data, which can also predict that how some people respond and react to this, could be very useful for an organization to modify the way it works and get the right blend of remote, hybrid, or online working scenarios, is what my thoughts are.
Vaishali, I'll request if you have some thoughts on this.
Sure. So I think completely agree with what Mohita is saying. I feel, as CHROs and HR heads, etc., several areas are focus areas these days, whether it's inclusion, whether it's performance management, whether it's the AI adoption of a lot of processes. What COVID and this entire hybrid model taught us is to have three main areas have become focused because of this as well. One is, as Mohita did point out, flexibility, and more importantly, personalization of everything. The workforce of today doesn't want to be want to get everything standardized. The second is employee well-being, which wasn't like a big agenda item earlier. And the third biggest is cultural integration. Because of this entire hybrid model, there is so much differentiation in the way people are building their culture. It's no more an obvious thing. The water cooler conversations are not happening. So I feel AI can play a big role in terms of some of these areas. Well-being, of course, there are several tools that have come in market, which kind of sense the employee emotions, and they'll bring back that those tidbits back to the supervisor, saying, why don't you connect with X person, Y person. But cultural integration is where it can really play a big role in terms of being very transparent around what is happening, in terms of telling the employees, this is the world and this is the canvas that you have, and which can be hybrid, which can be in person also. So these are the areas I feel AI can play an important role. Many steps have been taken in some of these areas. Probably more needs to be done. But yes, huge potential for people.
I agree. I agree to your points, Vaishali. I think, yes, uh, more important is showing what's happening inside the organization to employees has become pretty easy. Uh, Yash, uh,
Yes,
you've
sir.
been, I think, with the kind of experience that you bring in the HR domain, want to understand AI across the value chain, from hiring, firing, and retention. How can AI play an important role? And I think I want to hear it from you, because this follows
Nowadays,
that
the biggest thing, every startup or we say even a tech company is looking for the profitability. It's not now a cash burning economy. After COVID, everybody is looking for, I don't want to name anyone, but everybody is looking for the profit maximization. So when it comes to the AI thing, it can reduce the cost. When it comes to hiring, it can do screening automation. It has a biasness which is there in the hiring. A lot of times that can be removed. The manual labor which we say into IT, especially into overseas companies, that can be reduced very well. When it comes to even firing, we need data. So you cannot suddenly fire anyone, because nowadays the laws are such a way that you need a justificational answer to fire someone. So that data can only tell us this. So that is in firing. Apart from that, training is the most important thing nowadays. We don't get a trained employee due to this COVID batches in this last 3-4 years. When it comes to fresher, as you are also connected with freshers every now and then, so we don't get trained people what we used to get in 2017 to 20 batch. So post COVID, it is also difficult for the colleges to train people. So when it comes to training, there's always a scratch program, and an individual can't train everyone. Again, it's a cost centric to people. So AI can train in a much better way. It's a flexibility of training. Again, what Mohita and Vaishali has already mentioned, work from home is there, so it's not practically possible. This new Gen Z wants to be trained in a different way what we used to train. So everything is into AI connections nowadays. Apart from that, the most important thing in AI is we can get a repetition of things. A trainer cannot repeat each and every time in the same way what he used to deliver in the first section. So there's a lot of repetition is also there when it is required to training. Second, we can also refer it as and when we required it in training and development. When it comes to again hiring, the basic work, even getting connected with somebody on the social media, because maximum hiring comes from LinkedIn nowadays or any of the portal. So if we integrate our messaging podcast or bots and everything with LinkedIn, so manual works gets eliminated. So last day, what I did is I was speaking with someone and he showed me like you can message to 20,000 people in a go on LinkedIn. So that saves my time of almost like 1 hour in a day. If my team is making, and there are 5 people in the team, so 5 hours in a day. So if you calculate in a longer run, it saves me a lot of things. So that is their second. Screening. When it comes to screening, the biggest problem in screening is identifying the right information. So we have a screening organizations which have developed their business for that. So now AI can rectify this process, and we can save a lot on that as well. And what an AI can verify, we cannot even able to verify at a human level, because as a human, we always have certain amount of biasness in terms of caste, religion, knowledge, college background, something or other comes in a human mind. But when a machine is doing something, because it's learned by machine learning algorithm, it will not do that. So AI plays a very vital role in this all small task, even creating an offer letter. Let's say, for example, I have 2,000 people, I have to create an offer letter. By AI, if I put everything in the database, in the SQL and servers, it will automatically generate with a digital signature and it goes away. So the manual work is eliminated. Even a lot of people says a lot of things cannot be done by AI, but the research are going on right now, and within you will see in next 3 years everything will be possible by.
Good. I think there's always a. I always believe one thing: what you can think technology can do, and what you can't think can easily also be done by technology. And I'm sure you're talking about it. Vaishali, you spoke about some software aspects, cultural integration, and other aspects. I just wanted to understand more how AI can improve workplace diversity and inclusion initiatives. Is that possible through the AI, and how?
Okay. So for a very long time, there has been debate around, sexist robots, racist robots, etc. But now people have seen that if used responsibly, the potential is huge. Very straightforward use cases are the advancement in technology, the AI assisted devices for people with disabilities, for women, etc. So that they can be provided reasonable accommodation to be a part of the regular workforce. Yash spoke at length about reducing biases and the unconscious and the subconscious biases. There have been multiple use cases, and there has been a good progress, including your own, Skills Connect as well, in terms of recruitment, job descriptions, interviews, learning, skill development. I think all of this has been widely now being used. The next big stage where these biases can be looked at is the entire piece around performance summaries. So while there has been some progress there, it will be very important from an inclusion standpoint to see things beyond metrics and beyond numbers. Right now we are at a stage where we are looking at goals versus what the person has done and how unbiased can you be. Imagine a situation where my performance summary, what I write in words, versus a Yash's performance summary, what he writes in words, can actually be analyzed by a robo so that it can really be unbiased. Or deployment to projects, or the way my promotion interview is happening versus any other gender's promotion interview is also happening. So some of that is something that can be looked at, especially from reducing biases. One more important area where this entire thing about AI and even Gen AI, etc., can also be looked at is around bringing objectivity and transparency to this entire inclusivity conversation. So a lot of us who've been in the corporate world often hear this: okay, you are a certain gender or you're a certain community, so you will get through this because the company has a target, etc. And we've heard these conversations multiple times in informal chats as well. This is a place where a lot can be bought through AI available tools, to go beyond perceptions, to actually show and capture emotions, which can then be looked at from a unbiased data perspective. There are very simple to complex tools. Like I was reading about a tool which just gives you a proper pronunciation of a word, so of somebody's name as well. So I would say AI can really help, of course, in terms of reducing and removing the unconscious, subconscious biases in several aspects of HR, and at the same time bringing much more objectivity and transparency to the larger world in terms of how are you building inclusivity in the work culture? How are you building, how are you capturing those emotions, those data points, those situational behavior, behaviors, which can then be converted into reasonable actions. So if done responsibly, I think there is a huge potential, and a lot of companies have started working towards it.
Good. Good. Mohita, a question to you. Yeah, I just want to understand. I think 10 years down the line, will robots and artificial intelligence replace the entire HR domain? Do you think robots will be able to motivate people too? The motivation.
That's a very, yeah, that's a very interesting question, Ranu. And Yash was talking about more and more pieces of HR being taken away by AI and, removing the bias from the entire life cycle of employee. And when I look back in my own career and I talk to a lot of people who got into HR as a domain area, one thing which troubles most of them is the fact that there is so much of operations and administrative jobs that are there in HR, and you can't really do away with it. As of now, that's the belief. So there is that amount of Excel work, there's amount of talking to people, there is amount of collating data, a lot of manual work that is there. And I think AI and artificial intelligence and robots can definitely take part away the manual or the administrative tasks of HR. However, when I look at how AI is built, it is also built through the human power only. So there would be intelligent minds which will be required to ensure that the systems are created in a way that actually they can facilitate. Otherwise, it's going to be like a garbage in, garbage out kind of a scenario. Like what I see in my current organization, it's an artificial intelligence based radiology space, and it really depends on how effective our database of resources are or findings are to be able to give up maximum number of findings for the organization, for a patient. Similarly, when I look at how AI and radiology, one is definitely they take away a lot of repetitive tasks, like Yash mentioned, from generating offer letters to calculating a lot of stuff by itself. But the biggest role that I see for it is about data mining and actually reading the behavior of an employee through the various networks that we have. And one of the challenges that I have seen is the ability of HR to integrate end-to-end data that is available of an employee to do predictive analysis, to do even forecasting of behavior and patterns. And I think that's a role, that's a place where AI and robotics can actually do a lot of good work for HR. And these data points can also predict what really triggers a person, what really gets the best out of a person. I'm of the belief that an employee is motivated himself, very few external factors, because everyone has a different motivator. So if the data and the analysis can throw out what really gets the best out of people, then it can really help even the individual know what is best for me. Because a lot of times even employees discover it through a lot of hit and trial methods as to what really gets the best out of them. So if managers have this information from robots or AI data points, it will help them. But the role of a human touch, the role of the compassion, the empathy, may be really, really challenging for an AI robot or a robot to really kind of replace. So will all HR jobs be replaced by this thing? The answer is no in my mind. But will all HR jobs, data points be connected by AI and robots? For sure, yes. And in motivation, the biggest area, which is identifying what motivates, AI can definitely play a very, very important role in providing inputs. So that's what my take is on.
I agree. It only what I also personally feel. We've been on the hiring side of the business. I personally feel a normal call to even the junior most guy. If AI were to do everything, I continuously keep saying Naukri or any other tool could say that, hey, listen, there's a job from ABC or PwC and go, which doesn't happen. Everybody needs that personal touch, which is going to be very, very, very important for every aspect. And it's a personal department, as the name says. You need that personal touch for individuals. We can't be, robots can't give us that personal touch. Now,
Absolutely.
Yash, you specifically mentioned about, from hire to retain, hire to fire, entire journey. Can AI powered tools mitigate bias in the entire hiring process? We talk about ageism and gender as well in our hiring process. Do you think AI can help that as in that space?
Absolutely, but you have to, as Meeta and both the speakers already mentioned, that it should be used in a productive way. Then definitely they can reduce or even eliminate up to 100% these things. If the stakeholders who are in the company, whether it's a board of directors, whether it's an owner, they're agreeing on that. Let's say I give you a recent example. We were hiring content writers. So we started hiring those students who were international African students because they are a native English speaker plus a French speaker. So now a lot of companies at international level, even at a national level, have that criteria. Why should we hire an African country where we have a lot of potential in India? But when it comes to our potentials are not coming for interviewing even. So that is the challenge with everyone. Every HR is calling 10 times a candidate and even they are not coming for the interview. Whereas these guys are coming. So it happened only because we have implemented this process that we can take anyone in the machine itself. So machine don't give a biasness, whether it's an Indian or it's an African country candidate. So that's where the major differences are there. Second, when it comes to aging, I think experience plays its vital role. What a 20-year person is having an experience, all this my speaker is having, I'm having, you are having, maybe a fresher will not have. Again, it completely depends on what knowledge is bringing. It's not always about experiences. So I find that people have certain criteria that about 35 I will not hire in sales, or above 50 I will not hire. So we cannot say, and if we have reduced and eliminate these things, definitely we can get the best of the talent, because these are experienced guys. Let's say I give you a real life example for security guards. A lot of people are dealing with that. They prefer ex-army people. So ex-army, we are always proud with ex-army, and the way they work, a normal security guard, I don't think so can able to get that result what a security guards of ex-army can get. But if we have that biasness, okay, we will not take above 45 guard or 50 years guard, then that will not be possible. So AI can eliminate all this factor if coding is done in the right way. So right now the software is not coded in such a way that it can eliminate everything. So let's say, for example, you said gender bias. So in an aviation industry, you will find maximum crews are female. So because I was in Jet Airways as well, way back, I started my journey with Jet Airways. So we always are maximum female due to certain criteria. But if we eliminate that, the industry can also change. Same goes with HR. You will find maximum females are there. Why not a male can be a good HR? He can be. But the first preference is always a female at a junior level. Okay, that because if a female is talking with someone, he likes to talk and have an interview, and that also happens a lot of time. But if we eliminate all that with AI and the processes in AI, definitely we can eliminate. There are a lot of male, because India is a male dominant society predominantly. So there are a lot of jobs which the organization wants the male to be only perform, like sales, outside sales. I have one question. If we eliminate this gender bias things, female can be a very good salesperson. Even I think more than a male, they are capable enough to do a similar kind of a job if given a chance. And now in this 21st century, we cannot say on the basis of gender, I will not hire them, or on the basis of caste, we don't hire. I don't want to name anyone, but there are a lot of big companies, those who are in Fortune 500, have certain reservation for a specific caste which they belongs to. It might be right for them, but for a potential candidate, this is a hazardous totally. So that should not happen. And these trends are being seen across IIMs as well nowadays. In the recent interviews of my, or recent campus of my in IIM, this were the trends which is being drastically downing the potential of IIMs and IITs. So that should also not happen. So we always have a reservation form in the openings of, because we have to maintain a certain amount of reservation in private limited as well for a certain amount of benefits from the government. So we always ask caste. I eliminated that the entire thing. Why you need a caste of a person when you are hiring? So from AI we can eliminate. We don't even ask surname, because India is a kind of a country where on the basis of surname we started judging people. Okay, this is that surname. This he might be like this only. So when we are interviewing, we interviewing people on the code numbers only. We don't even take their names or something like, okay, this is the code number. So for the final face-to-face interview, that is also done by AI in our organization. Very simple.
So by the way, yes, just to add, women are seriously catching up on sales. In my own team, the female folks are doing much better than the male folks in terms of
Exactly.
B2B sales.
And your female folks, one of them is Nilka, she which is connected with me, and she is absolutely good in terms of approaching HR, sales guy, everything.
Thanks. Over to you, Pranu.
Yes. Yes, you specifically mentioned about coding, right? And just I see that even in the 7th standard or 8th standard, coding has started now becoming a part, or it's becoming the talk of the courses or curriculums. From a future workforce perspective, is the future going to be AI, that's artificial intelligence, emotional intelligence, or is it going to be a blend of both? Are the HR ready for this kind of workplaces, or an AI and AI powered HR platform is the need of the hour to streamline the processes from pre-hire to post-retire? Vaishali, if you can, just take this one, and may I want this one from all as well.
Sure, Ranu. It's interesting. I was hearing when you were asking Yash, 2 times you said hire to fire and not hire to retire. That's the change. That's the change that has happened, over the last several years. Because it's actually about, hire, learn, unlearn, relearn. So I feel in fact, Mohita was saying this, right? That, AI is here to stay, and we need to do a lot more in terms of, using the robos, etc. So our jobs will change is what we clearly see, rather than our jobs going away. If we are not agile, of course, it'll change, and emotional intelligence will play a very big role when this entire thing comes up. So has to be a symbiotic relationship between AI and EI. Both have to go hand in hand. And I think Yash mentioned this very clearly, that what goes in has to go out. So if the algorithms are not right, it'll not produce the right results. We still have a lot more male population in STEM courses versus female population. So that insight, or that element of how women will look at things versus how male will look at things, and other genders will look at things, have to come in. So AI has to keep moving, keep developing, whether it's, simple robotic process automation, or whether it's interesting machine learning, deep learning, or whether it's now, we're talking about generative AI. What has to go in has to keep evolving. I feel there's a lot more emotional aspects that are started building in within the robos as well. We are talking about capturing emotions. We're talking about capturing senses, etc. as well. We're talking about doing very personalized learnings, etc. as well. But at the same time, as humans, we need to keep upping our emotional intelligence quotient as well. The way we show compassion, the way we show empathy, the way we motivate our people, and the way we look at coaching our people, in the workplace, will be extremely important. So I would say it's going to be a symbiotic relationship. Both have to go hand in hand. No one beats the other, but we've got to be agile, both in terms of moving ahead with AI and moving ahead with our own, skills in terms of creativity and motivation and empathy.
Mohita, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with what Vishali said. And, when I think of this question, what comes to my mind is like, everything has been evolving, and this is also an evolution. the way I look at AI, EI, I look at robots, these are tools. How do we maximize a tool will really depend on us. And for us to understand what the tool can do for us and how do we use the tool better is going to be very important. I may have a very sophisticated car like a Mercedes, but I don't know how to use it effectively. It's going to be of no use. So as humans, our jobs will evolve, the jobs that we do, and it's best to learn how these tools are going to enable us to up our delivery systems as well. If we continue to using those tools, like someone who doesn't know how to use even, let's say, a small equipment in the kitchen, will continue to misuse it or not get the results. So these tools are definitely going to help us deliver the best if we know how to use it. So it's going to be a blend. It's going to be a blend of technology into our lives and a lot of relearning and unlearning at our end, and relearning and providing something which produces the best for us. So the handshake between data for people management, people development and growth, some of the skills that whichever organization I have worked with, a people leader, how to really motivate a team, how to get the best out of the team, the employees, how do they really grow themselves. If AI and EI can really help us get insights, then I think as HR, we can really use them in the best possible way to get the maximum potential out for each individual. And that's where it is from my side.
You explained it in a very simple words, I'm sure. A tool. And I think, Yash,
Yes,
the last part from my side, and I just want to understand what is your view on this particular part?
I agree with both of my speakers, and I have a similar view. But I also think that as the workload in the HR gets like lesser and lesser because of the repetition process is getting less, so the HR will also be taking part in other roles as well. Let's say, for example, I myself is taking roles in project management, QA. So HR needs to relearn, learn, as Vaishali ma'am already mentioned. So that needs to be retrained, relearn every now and then. So HR is not remain only the HR. Now he is combined another role also with the things. So let's say example, a very good HR who is very good at his time in evaluating everything. Now she can be a QA. Automation, but now she has to learn automation, Selenium, JMeter. These are the tools which she needs to learn or he needs to learn. Apart from that, all see everything changed in evaluation of time. When Mohita has started her career and when I started the career, there's a hell lot of difference. Things has changed. She was doing everything manually. She was taking a lot of pain, and she might also think like the journey of now this new generation HR is so easy, even to finding people. So now we have a click and we can find the people. If we have to hire someone, if we want to fire someone, we have another ways of retiring or firing people from the organization. We call some another HR, okay, you can take this person and he also don't feel bad. Way back before 20 years or 30 years, that was not possible because the world was not that connected what is right now. So things has completely changed and it will change in near future post 2024 after this elections. Everything will be more automized in terms of lot of things because in the what do you say, in the models of both the parties of the major parties in the countries have these things. So even you see they are trying to eliminate the ticketing system from the platform. So you don't need vendors now for ticketings. You don't need, it's everything online. So they started this journey way back from Passport Seva Kendra, started in 2001. The same comes with HR as well every nowadays. So PF, gratuity, everything is getting online. So every process is getting automized nowadays. I recently see a chatbot system also going to come in PF department. So which we had a stack of files in the PF, it's getting down the road. So everything is getting changed nowadays. So that evaluation, which Mohita said, we need to adopt the evaluation. If we cannot adopt the evaluation, we will be like dinosaurs and we will be eliminated from this particular jobs. So we have to understand, we have to learn, relearn. We also have to learn a lot of technology, which we not learned in our core syllabus. So I started learning coding because I know in very near future, I need to learn all those things. So I started learning, okay, let's start from the basic HTML, CSS, Java. Let's start from there. And then we can reach up to the height, because now nobody is taking another HR for another technical level of interviews. So they want a person who can take technical and non-technical interviews combined and eliminate the process of another technical managers for taking an interview. So everything is getting changed.
Perfect. I think one thing is common, that at least from all my three speakers also, I see some amount of tech knowledge that you guys have, imbibed in yourself. And I could see that when I spoke in the introduction. I'll tell you my experience in my boardroom when I was there in the last organization in the fintech domain. HR, what Mohita, you rightly said, HR definitely played a lot of HR, the quantum of involvement of HR, or we looking up to HR, had started increasing gradually as we moved into the fintech journey from a very traditional kind of a business. We were looking at, we had to take calls on the HR piece and look at a maturity where a person had a lot of knowledge on the new tools that are coming in. New tools were needed right on the talent acquisition front. New tools were needed on the talent management front. Continuous upgradation was needed because the pace at which the market is evolving, the pace at which the technology was evolving, we wanted a person who could understand that and actually bring it into the talent management and on the learning and development side. And it was so important that for almost every meetings that we had, and there was a boardroom meeting, we were discussing, this was the piece. Our company we exited it to a very large player. And that point in time as well, before the exit happened, the kind of evaluation that was done, and the HR also had to play an important role. There was a very proper metrics which they evaluated in terms of what have we done it. So I think it was, from my side, I think I had a wonderful experience in terms of listening to the veterans and the experts from the industry. And I have made a lot of note while you guys were talking to more, and I would like to see the video once again and understand. It was so many points. I would pass it on to Sunil. There are a lot of questions from the audience. Sunil, over to you, and let us connect as well once again going forward. Over to you, Sunil.
Thanks, Rano. I think it had been a very insightful topic discussion which we have been having, how to find, how to retire, or relearn. Okay, I think it is rightly put by Vaishali. Okay, I think there is a lot of to do in relearn as well. I have a few very smart questions which have come up. Okay, I will take one by one, and I think you all would be excited to answer them because that is of your interest as well. The first question which comes from is, robots are unlikely to replace HR completely. What are the key skills and qualities that HR practitioners should develop or emphasize to ensure they remain valuable contributors to their organization? Yash, would you like to take that?
Yes. So when it comes to the background which I'm coming from, we say nothing is impossible to replace by automation or process. But there are a lot of things, like Mohita has already explained, that cannot be replaced even by robots or humanoids or anyone. So if I tell you, the repetitive process can be replaced easily by the softwares. Let's say, for example, joining formality, induction, that can be replaced very easily. But when it comes to innovative ideas which an HR is creating for motivating his team or doing something else, the machines can give just an idea. But when it comes to implementing that idea, humans are required. So if I say, okay, let's take for a very simple example, let's take what are the 5 things motivates people. So first comes is money. Second is learning. The third is environment. Fourth is implementation with something else in the organization. And fifth, which I think is the work culture, which has been researched by a lot of researchers, a good researcher. So these are the 5 things are there. But a machine can think beyond this. But when we have to implement it, this is where a human is required or something, because as Vaishali or Mohita has explained very well, machines are also created by humans only at the end of the day. So what we can think, machine cannot think. You can't think a computer is making another computer. Software can make in by another software, but ultimately somebody needs to make that particular first software.
No, the algorithm is ultimately made by humans only.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
And you did mention about that PF automation. So we have seen and help people. Okay, I mean they are able to send message on WhatsApp to the PF office, and they are automatically getting the reply saying what is their contribution for the month or what is their balance in their account,
Yes.
etc. So this something which was a routine task by an executive or a customer relationship officer has now got automated by machine. Okay, and this has helped people can ask this question even at night. Okay, which previously used to happen during only the office hours. So definitely machines are contributing to the HR process. Okay, and it is taking the mundane tasks ahead. Okay, eliminated. I mean, uh,
Exactly. The bots are replacing. There are specific bots in the PF office which you already mentioned. It's a bot. So bot is replacing everything in the chat support system, and also so that jobs are also getting eliminated. But after that bot has their own capability. After that bot, there's a human who is always typing. Okay, now what else, other helps you are requiring? So that is there.
true. Uh, we have next questions coming from Neha. I think part of it you might
Right.
covered previously. What all processes can be automated in HR? Mohita, would you like to take that?
Uh, sure. I think what Yash spoke about is more about what all processes can be automated. And I think he did speak about the entire stream from recruitment to exit. And I will go into detail. However, the earlier question of Naina, I think she's talking about what key skills and qualities that practitioners should develop or emphasize so that they remain valuable contributors. I had some thoughts on this as well.
Sure.
If you're, yeah. So, Naina, that's an interesting question. One is for us to remain as HR practitioners relevant by being open and, learning all the time. So openness to adapt to these systems is very, very important. The ability to learn and unlearn is very important. And as you asked, to remain valuable contributing to the organization, it's about understanding what is valuable to the organization. And HR should focus on those energies which enable that whatever we do brings about the value for the organization, which means business understanding and context relation. So if HR practitioners develop these three specifically, which is being open, learning or developing themselves, and then being in direct connect with understanding the business and the market so that they know what is valuable to the organization, they would be able to connect the pieces there. And this can be done in almost all the processes which can be automated in HR. For example, you definitely a lot of admin related work of creating letters, sending reminders, your AI, the screening of applications while the system can do it and reduce, because for one application, one position today, there are thousands and thousands of applications that are made. And when you're doing recruitment, you realize that unless and until there's a system that filters that for you, half the things are just junk in terms of for the job opportunity. So even, for example, the HR processes of data mining, insighting from the data, identifying the sources of information that can give you insights into performance, with mental health being, engagement of employees, all these could be triggered and automated in HR in a big way. All the clearing processes of the life cycle, which is, let's say, full and final settlements, which is about, as we've heard, provident fund, payroll, taxation, these can be automated because there is a clear background information that can be fed in. And where it is related to labor or taxes, it can easily be, because the AI doesn't have to think too much. It is very, very a yes and a no. So all processes that need a yes and a no simply can have automation. Where there are gray areas, in AI may not be able to provide that kind of a support in the gray areas, and hence you will require an HR person to really decode that message and then come up with answers. So yeah, sorry for making that a long answer.
Oh, indeed, it was quite insightful, Mohita. Okay, it was not a long one, and people were excited to hear more from you as well. Okay. Thanks. We take on to the next question, which is coming from Nilakshi. Okay, questions are quite from an automation and robotic process, AI bot process as such. So we would like to hear from each one of you the viewpoint. So this question I would like to put up to Vaishali. Can humanoids replace HR functions and deliver the output more efficiently and emotionally? I think here we can emphasize more from an emotion perspective. Yeah, go ahead, Vaishali.
Sure. So, yes and no. I think, Mohita spoke about it and Yash also spoke about it. A lot of things can be easily replaced, especially the ones which are clear, which are not gray. They can easily be replaced by robots. In fact, I'm looking forward to a day where I'm able to hire robots, right? They should be in my recruitment list. Go interview the robo and move ahead, because that's how the life is going to be. I'm looking at few years from now, maybe I have 1, 2, 3, 4 humans and 3, 4, 5 robots in my team. Definitely that will happen, and given the way things are moving, it will happen. At the same time, the emotional quotient, as Mohita was saying, would still be there. Somebody asked about what are the key competencies. Mohita did respond to all of that. Empathy, critical thinking, problem solving. These are things that are yet to get on to, how the entire robo life cycle will work. But some of these will be important. So while you will not have roles of, say, chief operations or, payroll leader or, something like that, the roles are evolving, like chief wellness officer or chief data officer or, chief people experience officer, those kind of roles. So I would say keep working towards it. Think about things that are easily replaceable, because that will get replaced. Whether we like it or not, it will get replaced. It's not a future conversation. It is a real conversation. It is a present conversation. As we talk, a lot of things are getting replaced. But what will stay, and we have to keep keep moving towards it, is some of these emotional aspects. So while robots will have what we feed in them in terms of capturing the emotions, will they be able to react to the emotions the same way humans do, will be a question to ask.
I think very, very rightly said. The HR BP role being renamed as HR Wellness Officer, Chief Wellness Officer, Chief Experience Officer. I think that is what the new thing which is coming up in terms of attaching people emotionally and be in touch with them. Okay, I think that's very well put through. We move on to the next question, which is coming from Tushar. I think which is very pertinent. How AI can help HR in solving employee retention problem? Yash, you would like to take that?
It's very simple. See, AI works on data. So I give you a real life example. Recently, I come to an employee who has a 5 years experience and working in blockchain technology. So he got a counter offer with someone. So it's very obvious that the counter offer will be a very good prices than us. So we come to know, okay, this is the HR who is giving the counter offer. It was very simple. But we had his past history and the data. So the data says that recently he took up a loan from a bank it's a first home loan. Another data said he recently got married. The third data say he's expecting something, a child or like male or female will probably will be there in near future. So because of we have a automation system in which there are solutions for this. So AI has given us solution is he will definitely look after money, because no matter where he's working, all this employee attention and everything comes. The first and the foremost for a people at this age, basically for 5-year experience, is the money, because he has a family to feed. He has an expenses to meet. No matter how much good my culture is, he will go for money because he has a EMI to pay. So because we had that data, then we analyzes on that data, okay, what this person can get as a market potential. And we come to know it is our mistake. We had not increased that much salary, what he can easily get in the market. So because of AI, we can able to come to know, because we also had a bias in the mind, okay, this person can get this much only. When the counter offer comes up, we say, okay, that person got this much. So why the HR has not realized previously? So because of this AI, now we realized, okay, this is the market potential of this person. Okay, let's give them this much. If you will not give them, he will switch. And the tendency of switching people, what me, Vaishal and Mohita had way back in our careers has changed. Now people switch off for 40% hike, they will switch. 50% hike, they will switch. They will not, when it comes to culture, which company will say we have a bad culture? Every HR is trying to maintain the culture. All of three, which are present over here today, we are trying to best to give to our employees to make themselves happy and to give them a best culture. So the culture part is eliminated. So if one of like the good mentors in this field of startup, the Ashnil Grover sir, so he started giving bikes. I cannot afford bike. So that's a cultural shock. And my developers, my 3 of developers joined them. Very simple. So there's no harm and there's no way to HR to react. He should react in a positive way. We can retain the person if we can match his expectation. Okay, maybe 5-10% up here and there will agree. But if it is a big gap, retaining, take my words, retaining employees nowadays, it's too difficult. Until unless we can able to get near to the counter offer, or we can give something which is different. So one of my employees wanted an overseas opportunity. He was about to leave because another company was giving an overseas opportunity. I given the overseas opportunity. I retain him. Because hiring a new person will again take me to training to him for at least for around 6 to 8 months. He will take 6 months to learn the products. Any developer, any good developer, a 10-year experience also will take 6 months to understand the entire codes. So it's better to give an overseas opportunity. Okay. Now, instead of that, we also planned it, okay, overseas opportunity. You tell me which country in Asia you want to go. So like his dream was to go at certain place. So he was like, I want to go over here. Okay, go over there. We have to make march it.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Yash, for that input. Sorry, I'm interrupting, Sunilji. We have many questions and we'll probably have to respect the time. What I would suggest is maybe we can, if certain questions are already partially answered, which I am seeing, a lot of probably are overlapping, we may skip that and move on to the ones which are actually relevant, and we can maybe throw the questions to one-on-one to.
Yeah, I was just about to take one very good question, which is coming from Vishal. Okay, that is related to performance management domain. What AI methods and process one can choose to improvise performance management domain? Mohita, would you like to take that? Mohita, you are on mute.
Sorry about that. I think amongst us, we have a champion in performance management, which is Vaishali.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, she is a champion. So request Vaishali to take this up, please.
Vaishali, to you.
Okay, so I'm not a champion though, but I'll try and attempt this question. So performance management is an area where AI hasn't delved so deep. As I said initially, recruitment and job descriptions and all of that, there has been a lot of work in performance management. There has been less work, and there's more scope. So from an AI standpoint, the first and foremost is about removing the biases. This is where AI can definitely help, being very transparent about how things happen. Because once you have data, which hasn't used any judgment, you can actually present the data to the larger world. So transparency and bias reduction is something that AI can really work on. What it still cannot work on, which is where, within performance management, the role of a human or an HR or a supervisor comes into place, is having tough conversations. When you talk about performance management, it's not just about giving great feedback. It is also about giving developmental feedback, and that's where emotions come into picture. How do you say 3 good things and 2, development feedback in a way that the person is motivated rather than, demotivated. So I would say areas like doing tough conversations is where humans have still, human angle still needs to be there. But at the same time, AI can really help in the overall performance management by being very transparent about how the data is being used, what data is being collected, and what is the criteria of giving somebody a 1, 2, or a 3 during performance management or promoting or not promoting the employees.
Okay, thanks, Vaishali. Okay, I think some of the questions are already covered or are covered in the previous questions. I move on to one very exciting question from Parth. This is coming to you, Mohita. Okay. How can one leverage an HR software that has complete view of an employee to preempt employee resentment or happiness and well-being, mental and physical? And how can companies use AI or any bots or automation for this? This is from a techie perspective. Okay, maybe yes, you can add in later on. Okay.
This is a very, very interesting question, Parth. How can one leverage an HR software that has complete view of an employee to preempt employee resentment or happiness and well-being, mental and physical? It's only through data and through analysis that it can actually point out. For example, when you say you are healthy, now what data helps you know what's your actual state of health is when you do a blood test or a medical test, and there is actually data which tells you, your hemoglobin is here, your sugar level is here, and so on and so forth. Now that's the kind of work if HR software could do. For example, build together, let's say, the areas that you identify at the time of hiring as the areas of development. You have HR data which enables you to connect the dots on performance on those areas, and you have the data of how many leaves a person is taking, what is the kind of reimbursement claims, what's the kind of travel time that the person has, how much is the person traveling on work. All of this can actually be combined to provide this analysis. And a very interesting example given by Yash earlier, saying that there was information that the person just got married, he had taken a home loan, he was expecting a child, which meant that there were more expenses that he had to meet. Now, if you can actually have all of these pieces, like a customer relationship management in the system, can actually trigger much more intelligent findings that can be used by HR for conversations and connect, and being more proactive rather than reactive for an employee, right? Now, for example, if the HR software, which provides today, every organization believes in doing a market salary checkup or a comp benchmarking. If the system presents all of that data with the lifestyles or the life journey of the employee and presents to you that, this person is X% away from the benchmark of the salary, he's lower or higher, can actually also impact both wellness, mental and physical impact for the employee. If the person is taking too many holidays, the performance is bad, the system should be able to throw out and say, red alert, there may be something on emotional aspects, and the person has been performing like this, he is unhappy with this, he has not participated in engagement activities. So these can all be actually helpful to provide data that can help preempt requirements and resentments from the employee. Like if, for example, the person starts being absent from employee events, that something is not really working in the right space. So if all of that data starts presenting itself, we can get a good stock of how the person is. It's like it is doing an observation of the behavior with using data from the backend. And when you have a consolidated report of the observations, you can actually make an analysis very, very easily and have a more you can actually predict rather than have a reaction to resolve something, what is happening with the employee.
Thanks, Mohita. Okay, in view of the time, what we will do, we'll take just one last question. Okay, and that is coming to Dr. Yash, and maybe you can add few points to the previous question which came from Parth in case you want that is from a tech perspective. The one last question which is coming from Nitin, do we genuinely require this technology in a field like HR and other areas where human interaction is essential, or we introducing AI and robots? mainly due to startup race or anything else, potentially creating solutions for problems that didn't exist in the first place? I think that's a nice question. Have we essentially crafted a solution in search of a problem, or we are creating a problem with a solution? Okay.
The
Very,
question is like, this is one of the question I will remember for a longer period of time
yeah.
from anyone. See, there are a lot of things which an HR needs to do because others are doing. Let's say, for example, if you want to be in that area in a society, so you need to do a lot of things which might not be required as well. So when you say automation, yes, it's required. It's way too much. Otherwise, HR life is also busy. It's not more like making rangolis. There's always a fun which goes. What an HR does is makes a rangoli. So it's not nowadays making rangoli. Uh, Getting with the first question as well, it's a combination of both. We have a bottle which tracks the people how much water they drink in a day. So if a person is in stress, he drink less water. He go more often to the washroom. So we literally do this. So we have around 100 plus employees. Then it is possible. If you have 10,000 employees, that is also not possible in the data set as well. So if like Mohita is drinking water, now she feel relaxed. Okay, now this is my last question and I'm going to answer. So this says that she is stress free. If you see her temperature or a body mark or temperature controllant, it says that during this conversation, its graph is high, but now she feels relaxed. Now she will start up an AC and she will be doing relax. So we go up to this much automation, then it is only possible to know about the employee mindset, mind status. As she already mentioned, that if somebody is taking a leave from events, basically in the upcoming days or something like that in the events and all, he's not participating, definitely there's a red flag for the HR, and the HR, these red flags are coming due to automation. So that's the only reason why we have to do. And second is always now HR BP is more related to cost centric. So when it was only HR, so HR don't have to work on the cost part. Now when it's a business partner, he also has to work on the cost part, budgeting part. So automation eliminates a lot of human needs. So human have a cost which is attached to it, whereas AI doesn't have any cost. One is an implementation cost is there and a server cost. That's it. Very simple. So, and see what happens is if I don't use an AI, they will come to me 10 times in a month for asking different things. Let's say even for a salary slip. So there is a software like Unova. You can download whatever you want to. Don't come to HR. So HR is free and he can put his potential time in some creative ideas. So that's the only reason why automation is there. And when it comes to creating problems and giving solutions, it's endless. First, you have to create problem, then you solve the problems. You create problem, you solve the problem. This is how the work life works. So if you don't know where the problem lies, so first we have to identify the problems. So that is how it works.
Right.
Thanks.
Can I
Thanks.
just add? I just want to
Yeah,
add
sure,
to
Vaishali.
what Dr. Yash was saying. So yes, it is a cost benefit analysis. You don't have to pull it all in your organization if it's not needed. If you are an organization of 500 people sitting next to each other, you actually may not need a chatbot. You don't need to invest in a chatbot. So there has to be a balance between what is the benefit of you, because AI is not, like RPA or AI, it's not cheap. It will take its own money, right? So investment is needed. So that cost benefit analysis is very important. And more important, one more important thing that we've not talked about is the data privacy. It's extremely important. We have new roles in India as well, but it's extremely important on what data is being used, what permissions have been taken. Employees should not start feeling vulnerable on every single data. If the organization is providing medical facilities, that may be confidential to me. If you're using that medical facility data or what test I've gotten done, or where did I go for my treatment, into finding out whether I'm engaged or not, that itself can become a problem. So it's extremely important that we balance data privacy as well as the cost benefit of where you're applying, robotics or where you're not.
Thanks,
Right, very
Vaishali. Thanks, Vaishali, Dr. Yash Mohita, for patiently answering all the questions. Okay, we have been able to do justice to answering the questions because we have seen that larger part of the crowd have been able to stick here and hear you out and listen you out. Okay, I think that's a very good part of it. I hand it over to Vicky.
Thanks, Sunilji, and thanks a lot, Yash, Vaishali, and Mohita. It was really great to hear your thoughts, especially Vaishali, the last one, data privacy, very important. Though it is, at least in India, I have seen it has been neglected a lot. But maybe after the DPDP Act, this would be one of the key focus. Even from an HR perspective, we probably have a feeling, okay, it is just the data. But now, no, if you go to UAE or the other markets that we have been, working in, so data is probably the new oil. That's what we say. So I'm just summarizing the entire webinar and your thoughts for the audience. We first spoke about the technology piece, the hybrid model, Mohita's inputs on flexibility and data and emotional intelligence. These are the some key areas to be to focus while you are in a hybrid environment. From Vaishali also, flexibility was another common input that we have gained probably out of it. But personalization and employee well-being, that's also key focus, that probably hybrid has maybe created opportunities around this. Though it has given us relief, but it has also made us realize how much of personalization for each employee is important, and how much of employee well-being is also important these days. It was great to hear Dr. Yash's inputs as well on AI, in how it can be used in various areas like be it hiring, be it talent development, talent engagement, talent management, and key focus on profitability. That's why we called HR these days as HR business partners. And the future probably, and if you're seeing the paradigm shift of HR, earlier it was called a personnel department. Now it is more of a business partner. Going forward, it is going to be a strategic partner as well. And I have seen, or rather, there are many such cases where a CHRO has become a CEO, rather than the CFO taking over the CEO position, or the CTO taking over a CEO position. That actually defines how important or how strategic this role is going to become. And of course, when you are in a strategic role, from a company perspective, profitability and overall training becomes really interesting. Thanks a lot, Yash, for putting forward that thoughts. Then of course, we spoke about inclusivity, Vaishali's inputs on bias, and overall capturing emotions and measuring them for getting more analytics out of it. That was really interesting. Then the most important question: would robots actually replace HR? Maybe to summarize, I think we all have a consensus, and even I would like to put that forward. Technology has always and probably will always be supporting human activity. It will aid us. It will not replace. A very simple example: when calculators were invented, a lot of people went on strike. Mostly the accountants, fearing that this would probably take up their jobs, but actually they created a better job for them. Right, getting into more of analytics. And so I personally feel technology, actually speaking, uplifts the overall efficiency of people, but it doesn't replace. So I would like to sum that up. Technology is going to help, is going to support, but HRs are there. The empathy part, the human touch is really important. Need for emotional intelligence and AI, which was actually touched by Mohita very well. And I believe that is actually kind of need of the hour. While AI, being an HR tech company, we have seen a lot of technology innovations, and honestly speaking, AI has been a very great one in the last few years. But the sad part, or the drawback about the AI is it has worked on past data. It has crawled the web. Maybe check Chat GPT. It has crawled the web, which has data of past few years, but cannot actually see on real time data. If we could use AI and actually relate it with current data sets that we have, we could create emotional intelligence. That is what we've kind of done it at in our product as well. And helped organization actually find out their stressed employees. AI will not help you, but EI will. The emotional intelligence will help you find can help you find stressed employees. Of course, on the different data points, like Dr. Yash had also suggested. Agility, of course, has to be one of the key skills that HR should actually now have. I've actually seen a lot of HR folks resist systems just probably because there's a fear of a replacement. But we'll have to be agile and adopt to newer and newer technology so that we can scale and move faster and become, and as I said, move towards the future of HR, which is more strategic, which is more about hybrid, which is more about inclusivity, engagement, and of course, skill upliftment. Thanks a lot, everyone, for this interesting session. I would like to thank my the speakers, Vaishali, Dr. Yash, Mohita, for all the thoughts that you have shared and also being patient to answer the questions. There were many. We could actually just take a few. Maybe I'll request the audiences, if you have more questions, please write to us. We'll pass it on to the speakers and they connect you guys so that you can take it forward. Thanks a lot, Ranu, for anchoring this, and Sunilji for anchoring the Q&A session. And of course, the entire team, Tushar, Nilakshi, etc., who have actually been on the back end for supporting this entire webinar from a tech as well as execution standpoint.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and have a good weekend.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.